It's Juan and Alessandro for pedalsandeffects.com. He has brought this giant 303-esque synth for us, right?
Yeah, this is actually a company from LA who cloned the original 303 by Roland, it's the exact circuitry, and added some more stuff on top of it. There's a sub oscillator, so an octave lower.
Nice. And
an extra envelope. It's a very musical instrument, and it definitely has the spirit of the original, which I use a lot, and
yes,
I tend to run through a ton of like weird pedals that I brought with me today.
Yes, you did. He did. And he brought this. What is this?
This one is one of my latest favorites, and it's a company from Canada. And it's called the Echo Degrader. The company is Industrialectric, and that's the logo right there.
Clean.
And it's basically the definition, I would say, is a fucked up delay.
Yes, fucked up is good.
Probably the,
so it's perfect for pedals and effects, right, Nick?
It's just very. I think the bottom line is that everything that usually gets cleaned up when you have an analog delay, so the repetitions, get low pass filtered in order not to hear the clock. All that stuff, I think, the way that I see it, it gets used in a creative way, sound-wise. And obviously, we're talking about noise, so there's a lot of noise. But as I'll show you, I tend to use that noise as part of the final sound, and I feel like it adds a lot to it.
Yes.
And so it's not really just noise, but it becomes just another element that you use to, come up with your final sound. But let's see if we have a basic sequence or something here going. No, we don't here. Let me go to a bank that has. So this is just a basic, sequence. So if we turn this guy on. This is your clean delay. The cool thing is, cool or not cool, depending on how you used to work, is the feedback is also the mix. So at zero feedback, you have no delay, no repetitions. You already hear there's a little bit of like high-endish, like whisper. But the more you open the threshold, the more you hear what I like to call the snare drum, open snare drum rattle.
So you're inputting. Oh, okay, I got you.
Like like when they leave whatever the strings on the snare going.
Oh, it's snares, right? Oh, right.
Switch it off. We're recording. The bass is.
Yes.
And then the degrade basically will just choke the circuit the way that I hear it, and basically it'll sound. This is a normal, and then. This one is basically the equivalent of putting the feedback at maximum. So it's a temporary switch, momentary switch. Sorry.
Okay.
Basically what it does. So you get very, very loud. And then the last part is the tape stability, which is basically modulation. And it responds to dynamics. So like if you're playing a guitar, in the case of this synthesizer, you can have accented notes and normal notes. So the accented notes will be louder.
Right.
In the case of a guitar or a bass, the harder you're going to be playing.
Right.
And the more, it's basically see it as an envelope follower. Instead of being assigned to a filter like it usually is on a pedal, it's assigned to the delay time. So the harder you play, the more you're going to be influencing the delay time.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
So in this case. delays to like the stability, the fidelity. I guess another EQ arrangement. It's not changing as much as. Oh, I know why. It's dependent on how hard you hit the whole thing. So. See for the accented note it changes. You can hear the clock, you hear the clock very well, which is timed very fast. So you can get kind of like almost reverb sounds.
Right. Good for vocals. Good for vocals. That thing is awesome. It's right.
There's hours of, that's why, I like effects like these because I can come up with a sequence that I like, or something repetitive, which is, I really like repetition.
Right.
And then just play with the effect, sort of like come up with variations of the same sequence when it comes to timbre or distortion or repetitions or, tape stability like pitch and variations, subtle vibrato or whatever. So this is one of those effects that I think lends itself to that sort of sonic palette that allows you to take whatever the source is to another place, by hand.
That's awesome.
It's very hands-on.
And so you found, you were saying though, you think you found it.
I think I found it by looking on, I was looking at on the internet, and
was that through YouTube or was it eBay or?
No, I think I saw the video on YouTube.
Right.
Because that's what got me interested. And when I see them like made by hand, kind of like that, it's even more enticing to me. Cause
right.
It feels like, not that I don't like very well.
Right. No. Yeah. All have a purpose. Right.
But this, and plus you look at the labels like tape stability, stuff like that. It kind of already calls my name a little.
Because those are the things we want to manipulate. I hear you. Degrade's always a good word. I'm like, oh, degrade. Let's see what happens with that.
So this is the last one I added in my chain. Like I've been playing this record these two records that are released in the last 2 years called the Sonno and Risveglio, which are instrumental and they're done on a instrument similar to this. But a live set, I have several delays and several EQs, and this was the last one I added for the last bunch of shows, and it's fun because it allows me to add that sort of a high-endish tape stuff or kind of like distortion that comes from in the recording comes from recording open windows and the sound of the street coming in and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
And here I can sort of recreate that sort of like water, high-endish noise.
Right.
With a touch of a button or a knob. I mean, here you can do a button.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's not a scratchy pot. Yeah, I think everybody would get that. Go, oh, it's a scratchy pot, and it's not a scratchy pot.
Yeah, no. In this case, it's usable. I mean,
yes.
It might be broken. I don't know, but I like it. I think it's appropriate. I think it says in the manual that knob is supposed to be. Right.
But
the guy is also super cool, the guy who makes them, so.
So this is the guy he's out of Canada.
Yeah.
And all right, so you just Google him and you guys will find
Industrialectric, I'll show you it again.
Yeah. And then
and you can hear, actually you can hear the clock now.
Yeah.
And if you go, but see, all this stuff, it's in other delays too, I assume. It's just it gets filtered out.
Right.
And that's why the slower the delay, the darker usually for analog delays, because they filter all this stuff out. Right. But here, so it's a lot of fun.
Here we go, bass in it. Totally play with it.
Yeah, it's a crazy, for like weird effects, even with bass and guitar. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't designed. I use most of these things with synths, but
right.
You can hear still the clock just going. But it's totally interesting, even with stringed instruments,
That thing rules. Right.
It's getting angry.
It's like an analog particle sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? He smashes it. Oh, I gotta get one of these. Without a doubt, I gotta get one of these.
Yeah,
and I think he's got tight aesthetics. That's like punched in. I love this light. I love these switches. I love that he used the red one over here. It looks clean. I love that he put an explosion button on it. That's super tight. The explosion.